J.P. Barnett, who I know is has written a game book himself, if not more than one, has contacted me and says, "Did you start the FF Gamebook mechanic of code words? I like the ability this gives the writer to have the adventure decided based on what the reader does and not be limited to the traditional what items the reader collects during the adventure standard fare." No, I didn't. I can't remember where I saw it used before. I think somebody might have done the backward words thing, which I did for a while as well. I'm pretty sure that Keith Martin, aka Carl Sargent, had them in one book. But yeah, I too felt that having the adventure develop in certain ways purely based on what you've managed to lift from the dungeon or what you got stowed in your backpack and some clever shopping was too limiting and too artificial. The fact that we're talking about adventure game book set in a fantasy world, okay, let's not get into that right now. But yeah, I wanted it that it might be the way you've treated a person or somebody you've spoken to or something you've done but you don't have an object collected from it will have an impact later on. And I did use it more and more to the point where in Night of the Necromancer, where you are a ghost and so you can't physically carry objects, it completely eliminated that possibility, pretty much. The whole determining the outcome of the adventure and what you'd done and the mechanics of the book, the game, knowing where you'd been, things like that, had to be done through code words. When I started writing it, I did the usual thing of putting them backwards as well. But you end up with so many in that book, I just thought that was tedious for everybody, for the writer, for the editors, but mostly for the fans. If you're constantly writing these backward words, which you know what they are, so in the end I just used words which meant something to you if you'd been in that encounter and made sense, but didn't give anything away if you hadn't been there. And I did use some conceits of that. For example, there's a whole set of words beginning with B, which are related to on areas. But no, I didn't come up with that first. I'm sure I'm the one who's used it the most, certainly of Night of the Necromancer. JP goes on to say, as a thought, and this is purely an anti-cheat adjustment, back to the anti-cheats, I would attach special conditions to each code word like a number. When the code word is first recorded and then followed up later with an entry like, if you have code word such and such recorded on your adventure sheet, turn to the number associated with the code word. Yes, you could. Fair point. But as I said, I wasn't so worried about that because I wanted to write a book where you trusted people to. It's up to them. They've paid their money. They bought the book. They want to be entertained. If they want to just read through the book and say, yes, I've got every object, every code word. Although, of course, they're not always good. That's the other thing. And you don't necessarily know in context if it's a good code word or a bad code word. But I wasn't worried about that. I just thought I'll trust people to do. If they want to play the game properly, they'll play it properly and hopefully enjoy the experience. Well, that concludes the Q&A. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed doing this, actually. So thank you if you wrote in with a question, got in touch. And if you can bear it, I may well do it again in the future. So until next time.